Okay, you're on, sir.
Thank you very much, Chief. I'm going to call to order the Katuitt Fire District Board of Fire Commissioners meeting September 13th, 2022, 1730. Present,
Pisano.
Conley,
Zace.
Chief Brown.
Brown, excellent. Thank you all. Chief, do we have any public comment either by email or messaging in here?
No, sir, we have no emails and currently there is nothing in the chat.
Okay, excellent. Let's see, review and approval of previous minutes. Has anybody had a chance to take a look at the minutes?
Yes.
I have no problem.
No
Nope.
issues? We have any, thank you both. Any motions?
I move we accept the minutes as submitted or as written.
Second,
All those in favor?
Pisano.
Zace.
Conley? That passed unanimous. Okay, we're good there. Let's see, Chief, you're up. Chief's report.
All right, good evening, everybody. Chief's report for the month of August completed to be submitted this evening for September. Responses, August had a total of 96 responses, 2 fires, 2 fire-related incidents, 74 rescue EMS-related incidents, 2 hazardous condition, 2 service calls, 5 good intent calls, and 11 false alarms. Any questions on any of the responses? Under administration, we continue to work on response and tactical SOGs. The draft of initial structural fire attack was done by Lieutenant Clark, and we presented that at our last officers meeting yesterday for input from the officers and to continue working on that process. And we're trying to work with our response partners to synthesize some of those initial actions so that everybody has the same playbook. Lieutenant Mento is working on SOGs associated with hazardous materials meters, which is our carbon monoxide, hydrogen sulfide meters, our 4-gas meters that we use regularly, as well as a PID that we purchased that I'll discuss a little bit under another topic. Lieutenant Clark is also working on a critical incident stress debriefing SOG, as well as a driver operator SOG. He attended EBOC training recently, which is also under training, and we can go a little bit more into that there. I've ordered recognition plaques for Chief Small and Chief Rude. I attended a Barnstable County Regional Emergency Planning Committee meeting on September 7th to just discuss the upcoming peak of hurricane season and winter storm season and general information sharing as it relates to emergency preparedness. I attended a restitution hearing at Barnstable District Court on September 8th for the accident involving ambulance 262 last year. And the district will be receiving $162 and I believe 37 cents as part of the restitution settlement associated with the individual striking the ambulance. And that's the difference between our what we received from insurance versus what our actual costs were. Also attended a local comprehensive planning meeting on September 9th over at Barnstable Town Hall to just discuss the long-term vision for the town of Barnstable. All 5 fire districts were invited to that.
Hey, Chief, what was that called again?
It's the local comprehensive planning committee. And I believe Fran Parks represents the district on that meeting, if you're interested in asking any questions of the overall nature of that committee with her. So,
Nope, go good, thank you.
okay. And so it was really just general Q&A about the services that we provide and the similarities and differences between the fire districts. So I also, today, I attended the first kickoff meeting for a feasibility study on a regional emergency communications center with the towns of Sandwich, the towns of Barnstable, the town of Yarmouth, as well as, I'm just going to admit somebody here, as well as the 5 fire districts. So Sandwich, Barnstable, Yarmouth, and the 5 fire districts. So that was the kickoff meeting. It's about a 5 to 6 month project to look at the feasibility of a regional dispatch center for the 3 towns. That is it under administration. Any questions on any of that?
Yeah, Chief, I had a question. On the emergency planning meeting, the first one you described, did
Yep.
the town speak at all to advanced information to the districts about availability of heavy equipment in the event of storms? Last few years, we've been finding it very difficult to get any kind of commitment from them to have heavy equipment available in the event hurricane comes ashore and we've got a lot of blocked roads, et cetera.
No, this was this was the entire county. So this was all of the Cape. This was not town. This was not town of Barnstable
Well,
centric, this particular
see.
meeting. So that level of granularity didn't come up in this meeting. So
Thank you.
we I've added a separate line that's new here under technology. As I continue to assess the needs of the fire department, a big portion of that, I had been putting that under administration, but a big portion of our operations is impacted by IT. So our discussions are continuing with multiple IT support vendors. We're awaiting quotes for IT support and telephone options, just to look to see how we can just improve overall efficiency of our data management, our IT support. Right now, Firefighter Emerson does a lot of IT support for us. I do what I'm capable of doing, but there are some days that there are things that it just take up a significant amount of time, and would probably be better served by a little more robust IT support. So in related to that, we're looking at all of the options for our records management system. We're working to improve image trend, the use of image trends. I've been working with Firefighter Staggs and Lieutenant Clark to see what sections of modules we can activate with that organically to what we have now, and assess the effectiveness of that to determine if we should continue to invest time and effort in that or look at other platforms. There's a lot of stuff that we do here that is really not being captured and is difficult to quantify on a monthly basis for the board and for the people that we serve. We don't really have a system for cataloging all the inspections that are done, all the other non-training activities, public education, things of that nature. So we're really trying to come up with a better way to gather that information and then retrieve it so that it's in a usable format for the board to help you make decisions, and also to help me make decisions on staff utilization. Along with that, this is the Red NMX program we're using, Prodigy, the potential use of Lexipol for policy development. So we're just trying to come up with what are the best options for the district and what is that cost going to be associated with it. And in all reality, as much as I'd like to pull the trigger on some of these things today, realistically, we're probably talking next fiscal year, to be honest with all of you, that because there is going to be a price tag associated with some of these, and that's may or may not be what we have available in this fiscal year's budget. So We've continued to use CrewSense. And thank you to Lisa Haven from Treasurer's Office, firefighter Emerson, and local 3642. We've really worked together to reduce and streamline the processing of the payroll. When it was taking a better part of a day with several people involved to process payroll, and we have it down to about a half-hour process now. That was really a collaborative effort, and I appreciate everybody's assistance and support on that. So that is what I have on the technology for this month. Any questions there?
No, but congratulations on that work on the payroll. That's a nice step forward.
Yeah, thank you, and the thanks really goes to those other individuals. So, but I'll certainly make sure they hear that.
Good.
Personnel, under positive citizens comments, we did receive a card with an $820 donation from the family of Lawrence Burse, who was a former member of the organization. And I think that just, although wasn't exactly a thank you or positive citizen comment, I think it's a reflection on how the organization is viewed in the community, that people raise funds and contribute to the fire department. So although perhaps not specific personnel called out in there, I think it speaks to the overall caliber of our people and our department. We have some personnel supporting the Cape Cod Tech Fire Science Program. So shortly after I arrived, I was appointed to a committee with the Cape and Islands Fire Chiefs Association, an advisory role on supporting the development of a fire science program at Cape Cod Regional High School in Harwich. And we had a very successful program in Concord. The Concord Regional Technical Center had a fire science program. And we've had some collaboration with that program down here. Lieutenant Clark has been supporting them with, he's the program manager for our personal protective equipment here in Cotuit, and worked with the school to get some of our outdated gear to the school so that they can use it for non-structural firefighting, but with training these kids that are interested in the career. Firefighter McPherson, Firefighter Lee are going to be assisting with instructing up there periodically. And this is a really, I think, significant opportunity for recruitment for the Cape Fire Service. It's very challenging industry-wide right now to recruit individuals into the career. It's further complicated down here on the Cape because of the cost of living. So it's tough to get people to move down here and find a home, live within the recall requirements that fire departments have, and so on. So if we can really get our hooks, so to speak, into folks that are established locally and perhaps live at home, get a job, and save up some money before they get their own place. Anyway, it's a really great program. It's in its infancy, but I think it'll bear fruit. And my appreciation to those guys from here that are helping to support it. Firefighter Williamson is going to be representing Cotuit at a 55+ safety day here. It'll be the whole town, all the districts, the police department, and other services will be present there. He is going to be, in addition to supporting that endeavor, he's also going to be doing some information gathering to work on developing a senior community outreach program here in Cotuit. So more to come on that, and I appreciate his efforts there.
Chief, excuse me, is there a tentative date for that?
There is, and I'll actually be putting it up on the Facebook page. I have an announcement for it, and I will. I do have it. I'll have to get back to you with that.
Yeah, fine.
So.
It's all right, Chief. You can get it to me later.
Yep,
I didn't mean to send you
September,
down the
it's,
rabbit hole.
Yep, no problem. September 22nd from 11 to 2 at the Barnstable, at the BACC, which is I think the Barnstable Adult Community Center.
Yeah.
So, oh, citizen. Oh, I have somebody coming into the meeting here. So, all right. Okay, under training,
Hey, Chief, on personnel, just a couple things quick on the donations.
yes.
That $800, that goes where? Back into the general fund? Is that what happens with that?
Yep, I believe so. I haven't heard back from Ray where that's going to land. So I sent it over to the treasurer and I believe it will end up in the general fund. Yes.
Fran, if you're trying to make a comment here, you're on mute. So while Fran looks at that, the other thing, 4Cs, I think that is that's a great program. I really appreciate the fact that you got involved with that, and kudos to the guys that are involved with that to try to help bring some new guys along, new guys and gals as would be along. So that's fantastic.
Thank you. And it looks like Fran sent a comment that in the past there was a separate donation fund. So,
Okay.
Fran. But yeah, I have not heard back from Ray, but I'll follow up and find out where that lands. So,
Great. Thank you.
yes, sir. So also under personnel is the training area, and upcoming training is we have on the 19th, we'll be going over hazardous materials meters that we have. We have a new hydrogen sulfide, a hydrogen cyanide single sensor meter that is for atmospheric monitoring in the post-fire environment to ensure that when we get to a point where SCBA is not required, that we have a safe working environment for our personnel. We also have a new 4-gas meter with a photoionization detector in it, which is just another tool that our folks will have available to them for some of those unknown odor calls that we may go on. And so we're going to do a little training on that. We may have some outside fire departments that will be attending that metering and monitoring class here at the firehouse. Over the next few weeks, everybody's going to be going through the state ethics training, just the periodic requirements that is as mandated by the state. We can continue with our incident command training and doing tactical worksheets and just going over some of strategy and tactics with the larger incidents. Lieutenant Clark attended an emergency vehicle operations course, EVOC train the trainer. So he will be able to develop training programs for our emergency vehicle operations, as well as he's going to be working on some policies associated with that, as I mentioned earlier in the administrative bullet points. And we are also working with 3 different properties here in the district that are scheduled for demolition to get in there and do some hands-on training, which I refer to as destructive training. So work that we can do with saws, enforceable entry, buildings that we can drag charged hose lines through without being concerned about doing damage to them. So those are really great opportunities to train in different environments, and looking forward to getting some opportunities there. That is everything I have under the personnel. Any questions on those? No.
Oh, that was great, Chief. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Apparatus and equipment. The new portable radios and new mobiles have been programmed. And again, I sometimes feel like a broken record with supply chain issues, but we're waiting on external mics and vehicle chargers before we can fully deploy the new portable radios. So right now we don't have the the full functionality. And my last time I spoke to you about those when they arrived, I didn't realize that all the parts were not with them. So we do have them. They are programmed. We're just waiting for the rest of the components so that they can be fully deployed. We did receive our hydrogen cyanide meter and our 4-gas PID meter that I mentioned before. Those were FY22 orders, and those were encumbered funds from fiscal year 22. Breaker 267's back in service. Our invoice hasn't been received for that yet, but I'm told it'll probably be around 1,200. Engine 265 is out of service for preventative maintenance and repairs. Before we gave the green lights for them to go, they called us and said it's probably going to be around 9,500 for the PM and all the items that they found on the apparatus that needed to be repaired. When engine 263, excuse me, when 265 comes back, engine 263 will go out for PM as well. So I do not know how much that's going to cost. So we'll get an estimate on that. And, you know, and I may be coming back to the board. So Marine 266 to the shop the week of, I believe it's actually 9/16. I put 9/19, but I think it's going to get pulled on the 16th and go over to Crosby. We've had an issue with one of the motors that will not come up on that.
So Chief, just a quick comment there, if I may, just so that everybody's on the same page and up to date. We do have some concerns about the budget on maintenance. And not that we are over right now, but we do have concerns as far as where we will be going forward when we get 263 back, 265 out, and seeing what the 266 estimate is or repair bill is. So again, nothing really for us to consider right now, but just be aware that we have some concerns in that space. I don't like to surprise people.
Yes, yeah, thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, that does size that up pretty accurately. So, and that is the bullet point there that we're kind of working on a preventative maintenance program here. That's something that's sustainable for the future to ensure that everything stays in service, everything is PM'd appropriately, and hopefully in the long run saves money. And so the ambulance 262 replacement specifications continue to be developed, and it's possible that you know, we're looking at about a potentially up to anywhere from $31,000 to $51,000 shortfall in the CIP compared to what our estimates are coming in at now. And so we've been continuing to do due diligence. We've gotten quotes on trade-in value options, other vendor options, but they're all coming in pretty similar to Lifeline, which is the vendor that we use for our last ambulance and some of our neighboring jurisdictions use, and are able to kind of share some of that support resource if we do go down the Lifeline road. So with that, I'm gonna defer to the board on thoughts on proceeding with this capital project and
So
and
Chief, if I may hop in here, we have a lot of moving parts here. We have a situation where there's been a price increase to begin with, which has put us past where our original budgeted numbers were. So that's kind of statement number one. In addition to that, it looks like our chassis is going to be a 2023 chassis. We're expecting to hear from Ford by middle of next month on an increase in chassis cost, which would affect us directly. In addition to that, it looks like there's going to be an increase on the box, right? The box itself that goes onto the ambulance. That that box is going to be a minimum of $8,500 above what it had been estimated at. Now, I don't think hopefully none of this is a surprise to anybody in terms of the bigger picture of the world right now. So we're originally about 10% over budget against an 8.3 cost of living situation we have here, right? So the fact of the matter is numbers are up. There may be some things we need to do quickly over the next 30, 60 days. And when I say things we need to do quickly, we're going to get a number from Ford, from our dealership, so to speak, over the next, I think about a month from now. It should be within a month or so that we'll get a number on the chassis, right? What the increase is there. And then we'll also on the 3rd on the 3rd of October, understand what the box increase is going to be. And the company that we're doing business with to bring the whole thing together is going to give us 2 weeks to sign paper and hold the price of the box where it was 2 weeks after the chassis pricing comes out. So let's just say if the chassis pricing comes out on the 15th, as long as we sign by the 29th, it's big animal numbers, then they won't increase our box price. The price for our chassis will go up because they have no control over that from a Ford Motor Company point of view. Now, I kind of spell that all out, guys and gals here, because I think it's important that we know that we may need to move quickly to go out to warrant, to town warrant, possibly. We may not have to do that, and I'm talking to legal about that now. We may not have to do that because this is a future purchase. So we may have the opportunity of doing that warrant at a future date, which would mean we could slow things down a little bit. But what I want to put, what I think we should do is put ourselves in a position that we don't get that 8,500 plus whatever it would be. And we at least protect ourselves against that. There's nothing we can do about what Ford's going to do on the chassis, period, end of story. But we might be able to affect whether that 8,500 hits us. With that, I'll take a breath. And actually, Chief, did I describe that properly?
Yes, that's an accurate summary of everything that we've gotten from the vendors, and again, we're working with Lifeline because we worked with them in the past. They're on a GPO, but we've done due diligence with other vendors, and everything it seems to be coming in they're in the same ballpark.
Yeah, and I think that's, Chief, that's a great point, and I really appreciate that you've done that. And obviously you can tell the Chief and I have been in close contact in this conversation, but I really want to thank him and the team that's involved in doing that due diligence. We wanted to make sure that the numbers we were seeing, as we were seeing them increase, were consistent across other areas as well, other opportunities, so to speak.
If I may just point out something, and my thanks and appreciation to everybody that allowed us to order the power lift system, which should be in the beginning of next month. The Striker is, from my understanding, is going to have a 9% price increase across the board next month. So had we not ordered that power lift system, it's likely to have gone up almost $7,000. So so again, there was a cost savings by ordering it when we did, and my appreciation for everybody working to make that happen.
Let me just, Chief, let me just interrupt. I want to make sure that we're all clear here. Anybody have any, Adam, Rick, any questions on that whole conversation there? Are you guys pretty clear on what the situation is?
No, it's very clear. We should sign the paper soon so that we don't get that, we protect ourselves on the upside on the box. I don't know whether everyone in the village or the district will see it that way, but it seems abundantly obvious to me that that's the only path forward.
If there are other options, I'd like to hear them, but I think you're right. That is the path forward at this particular stage. Thank you, Adam. Rick, any thoughts?
Yeah, I would just like to remind the board, when we addressed this warrant issue at the last annual meeting, one of the points that we made in requesting the money for the ambulance early was precisely the concern about the inflationary drivers, and that we were going to be paying significantly more if we waited. And the district was very responsive and knowledgeable about that. So I don't think it's going to come as a surprise. It won't be welcome news, but I don't think anyone will be unduly shocked. The question I had was one of timing. Our next month's normal meeting would be on the 11th. Do we need to consider a meeting earlier than that, once these prices come out, to make sure that we get everything taken care of in a timely manner?
So,
Say the 29th, Kevin?
well, what I was going to suggest there is a couple, well, one basically, I'd like to hear back from legal first. I have to talk to legal to see what they say. Whether or not, because it's a future expenditure and that we're basically putting an order in for position, whether we need to have that warrant done in order to do that. That's really my first question. If we do need to do that, then I do suggest we probably will want to move the meeting up and probably get it closer to the timing. I would suggest for now that we hold it where it is, but do all be fully aware that we may be moving it up. Does that make sense? Or is it better just to move it up to that Tuesday, the first Tuesday now, and just have it on the books for the first Tuesday?
That would be the 4th, which would be the day after we're supposed to get this information.
Yeah.
No. So let me clear that. The box price is most likely going to go up on the 3rd. We don't expect until mid-October to get the price up on the frame and chassis. And
I had it reversed.
Yep.
I got you.
Believe me, I had to sit down with the chief with a piece of paper. He drew pictures on his little thing for me, right? But the fact of the matter is, it's really mid-October where we figure out what's going to happen from a cost point of view. And then the 2-week clock starts at that point. So I'm meeting on whatever date that is.
The 11th.
11th, thank you very much, Adam. If Ford announces before the 11th, we could be sitting here on the 11th saying, hey, Ford announced today that it is a additional 20,000. So we're totally at their mercy, right? And I do think it's better just maybe to hold the meeting where it is for now and see how a few things play out.
I agree.
All right, just so you know, the 4th is fine. If you were to change it, Kevin, I would be fine with it.
Thank you. Rick, your thoughts on the 4th?
I can do either.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Chief.
You're welcome. Thank you. That concludes apparatus and equipment. Any other questions under apparatus and equipment? Facilities, new kitchen chairs have arrived, tables not arrived yet. So I'll put a picture of the chairs in with the minutes when they're posted, and or you can come by for a cup of coffee and check them out. So, or both. And with that,
Chief, one other thing, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this relative to facilities. Guys, gals, we have to admit, look at the facilities behind you, behind the chief, right? He's moving in, he has his coins up. He's really working his office very well. So it's the facilities are improving already, Chief. Thank you.
I get some ideas from watching HGTV with my wife. So,
Chief, in the minutes of last month's meeting, there were some things that were talked about fixes to like the bathrooms and so forth. Any particular information that needs to be shared or could be shared?
No, still waiting for some, once again, supply chain strikes again. So still waiting for a few pieces and parts to come in that they've ordered before they get underway with some of the, some of those fixes. So some of the maintenance.
Thanks.
Then I had a couple of questions that I wanted to raise. I don't know where in the agenda would be the most appropriate, but they are in regard to the updated expenditure ledger that just came out.
I'm happy to have the conversation now. I do not have it in front of me, however.
Very well, I can
You
run
wanna-
the information. The first line item is 5124, which is incident permanent. And we are already at 46% expenditure.
Yes, I do have that.
And it caught my attention because I'm not clear what ran it up that fast.
Incident permanent. The 1956, 16939.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do have it. So, Chief, do you have that in front of you? Do you have a perspective on that?
I do, and so it's interesting because we had our officers meeting yesterday, and I brought this up and my observation on it that it was pretty high for this point in the fiscal year. I'm not sure. My history with overtime is July and August, the first 2 months of fiscal years, also are the two vacation period times. Also here on the Cape, my summation is that it's also our peak period of time for call volume. And so just like in my past experience with budgeting, it always makes my heart skip a beat in July and August when I look at my overtime budget, and then over time it falls in line over the balance of the fiscal year. I don't know if that's what I should anticipate here with this particular line. One of the challenges that I have is that it's difficult to look back with our prior budgets with the software limitations that I have here, which are spreadsheets. I don't have a robust budget management to help me with projections, to look at patterns. So I don't really have a historical reference on this. Incidentally, Ray had emailed me about this last night within about 24 hours of and he just said, "Hey, did you notice this?" And it was actually within 24 hours probably of my noticing it. So as far as the drivers, it's call volume drives callback. So that's the driver of it. What the history of this is, I don't really have much context to add to that. I don't know if this is the same, how much this has been in the past fiscal years. And I don't have the ability to run reports for year-to-date reports. So I don't know in fiscal year 22 where we were in September. I don't know where in fiscal year 21 where we were in September. So normally I would be looking at those types of patterns. That is my financial management background. My fire service financial management background would be regularly looking at these patterns and year-to-date patterns to see if we're on a similar trajectory. And then if there are anomalies, then we chase them down and try to pinpoint what they are. Here, my summation is that this is summertime call volume, but I don't, without making some time with Ray and trying to look at their VADAR program and running some reports, I don't have much context to add. So I know that was a lengthy answer, but
I appreciate the clarification. Thank you.
Tell you what I'll do. I'll take a look at some past emails. I think it behooves us to do that and see if I can find this ledger from last year as an example, or about in September. Rick, you might even have it, I would bet, but I'll take a look.
I was thinking of doing the same thing after the meeting. Yeah, I'll see if I can track it down.
Yep.
The other line item I had a similar question about was 5144, the educational incentive, which usually runs low over the course of the year. And we're already up at 45%. And it caught my eye Not that I have a problem with the guys using the educational incentive. I was just wondering if this was across the board, a number of firefighters, or if there was one big expense.
That's a contractual obligation that gets paid out twice a year. So almost half of it would be paid out in July, and then I believe, no, I'm sorry, I'm thinking holidays. The educational incentive, for most of the, employees, they get it in a lump sum now, depending on when they're hired, and I'd have to defer to the contract to speak with specifics on that, but
So the chief and I had reviewed this particular one a couple of weeks ago, Rick, actually. And at the time, I think you did look it up in the contract and find that it was applied against a contractual date. Chief,
Yep.
does that ring?
yeah, they are paid out in, yeah. So the holidays are paid out in first in 2 payments, and then the educational payment is, I believe, a one-time lump sum for most, and then and I can get you the specific contract sections and language.
I have a copy of the contract. You know, I
Yeah.
think I misread the line item. I wasn't thinking about the previously earned incentive, but rather the current new educational opportunity subsidy. But I only got to look at this afternoon, so
Mhm.
I was making notes on the run here. Apologize for that, but I do understand about the contractual payout dates. And that clarifies my question, so thank you.
Yep.
Great. Okay. Chief, thank you. Let's see, old business. Adam, do we have anything from your school committee?
No, I've checked with some of the other folks on the committee, and as I understand it, the town has been relatively silent since we asked for them to remove the tank. So basically, in terms of the minutes, nothing new to report.
Got it, thank you. And relative to my subcommittee on physical fitness, I'm gonna remove that frankly at this stage from a subcommittee. There's been no movement from the firefighters. So I think that's been kind of shelved from their perspective. Perhaps it'll become part of the conversation when we get into negotiation conversation. So no movement there at all. Okay. With that, let's see what we have. Public comment, Chief, do we have anything?
There,
I apologize. New business. Do we have any new business?
I have no new business.
Okay. Public comment.
Wait a minute, I'm sorry. Can I jump in on that just with a question? Do we have any starting date for preliminary discussions for the new contract?
I think we'll be discussing that shortly, but
Okay.
with the union has notified us, thank you very much for that, that they would like to, letters of representative notify you, the Board of Fire Commissioners, to a fire district, our intent to enter into collective bargaining. So, yes, we are in the process of getting ready to get there.
Very good,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Got it. Let's see, anything else, new business? Nope, we're good there. Chief, any public comment?
Nothing in the chat and no emails.
Okay, let's see. With that, we're going to go into executive session. So help me, everybody, if I do this wrong, but I think we're good. Executive session for purpose 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation. If in an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigation position of a public body, and the chair so declares. So clear. Bargaining unit local 3642, the committee will not return to open session. Okay. With that, do we do a motion on that?
Yeah, move we go into executive session.
Second,
All those in favor?
Pisano.
Zace.
Conley? Thanks. We are now in executive session. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, I'm gonna make sure that,
Stop the recording.
yep, so just